Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Enough to Keep Going podcast. This is episode number 214, and we got another GX show. Um, it is not for September 2021, part 3. This is October 21, part 1, if my math is correct. And I am your host, SwissGuard, and I'm here with my bearded brother, Taomaster99. How you doing, Tao? I almost went
I'm
1999. I don't know why.
1990. Thinking of Prince Day. You must have been listening to
I
Prince
don't know.
before. I'm good, thank you.
All right. So we're doing the GX show tonight, which is when we talk about what we've been playing for the last 2 weeks. The intervening, even though E2KG is a weekly show, the intervening weeks are our deep dives where we talk about the meta of gaming and the latest gaming news. So we pull a bunch of stories. But this week, it's just strictly how we've been faring as gamers. So, first segment, as always, new releases. We don't always play the newest games that are out there, but this week, each of us did pick something up, and I picked up Metroid Dread for the Nintendo Switch. And, you know, I recall back when, I mean, this is episode 214, right? We've been doing this a long time at this point. Uh, and I believe we were doing this prior to the Switch coming out, or when this iteration of the show came around right as the Switch kind of launched, I believe, right? 2017. So I remember a discussion we had where we were like, okay, the Switch is this, seems like it's going to be a success. We were all enjoying what we were seeing, and the reviews and everything were good. If you recall, it launched with Breath of the Wild. But I distinctly remember a deep dive discussion where we were talking about what of the Nintendo 3DS, and I think we pretty much all agreed that it would wither on the vine, and they were basically merging the two product lines of the home console and the handheld. Obviously, the Switch is in those two modes, but there were franchises that were split between those consoles. For me, who's never been a huge, I was never a huge Game Boy gamer, never a big 3DS gamer. I had them, I played them a little bit, but I've always been more of a home console, like on the TV. So when I think Metroid, I have this Super Metroid back in the day, but my biggest memories are for Metroid Prime on the GameCube. And so Metroid Dread is actually a little bit of a departure for me with Metroid, but it completely like illustrates that look, we're just going to merge the the SKUs, the two product lines for our consoles. We're not going to, we doesn't have to affect the game design. And this one is squarely in the wheelhouse of the 3DS. It feels like that 3DS style game. Um, 2D platforming, 2D like Metroidvania. So it it was a little bit of a new experience for me. My first exposure to it was watching my kids play. So biggest, my first reaction was, wow, I'm getting a little bit of motion sickness watching this thing because Samus is very quick. So the movements are very quick. The level shifts around, like it's kind of centered on Samus. So as you're jumping around and moving and sliding, the level's like all shifting, and I was just like, I can't watch my spastic 7-year-old play this game. I'm just gonna have to play it myself. And I figured when I did play it myself, um, that wouldn't be an issue, and it wasn't. So as far as the game itself, going back to that, this is a squarely 3DS game, but in the Switch generation. It starts off with the backstory, which is, there's not much in the way of a cutscene. You have a little bit of like a ship flying through space and stuff like that. But you know, you just get some walls of text explaining the backstory. Hey, these Metroids, they're extinct. They used to do this. There was the X something or other that could corrupt things, but the Metroids could kill them. And Samus, I guess, had some sort of Metroid DNA or whatever, and she defeated the X thingies. Whatever. It just like told you, and it felt very old school, very handheld. And um, but you get into the game, and you know the whole premise is they had sent these Emmy machines to this planet after they detected something anomalous. And when you get there, it turns out the Emmys have been corrupted somehow and they're trying to kill you. So the dread from Metroid Dread is you're being chased. And they immediately make it clear you aren't really built to combat the Emmys. They want you to run from them. So the game immediately has you sprinting through levels. You have to hit the button to slide, and so you slide under this like lower rock formation under here to get away from the Emmy, who will start crawling around like on the ceiling to get around to get at you. And you know, I already said that the game is very quick. The movement is very quick. So that experience of being chased, like it is a little bit of a little. It is a little stressful. So I do think that at least initially, like I haven't played it a lot. Initially, they did hit that stress meter of okay, I'm in this. They basically have an Emmy patrolling a zone. So when you're in this Emmy zone and it spots you and it starts chasing you, you do have to spend um, some effort getting away. They give you an opportunity to like have like if you get captured, the Emmy kind of like hovers over you and like pauses before they like execute you, really. And there's like one flash, and if you time it just right, you can block the Emmy and get out. But the game like repeatedly tells you this is like a last ditch desperation move, and it rarely is, you can rarely accomplish it. So I'm going to be curious to see how well that happens, how that proves to be the case, because I remember playing like Breath of the Wild, when you're fighting the Lionels or something, and you can do the flurry rush if you time it just right. Were you ever good at hitting those flurry rushes, Tao?
I never even got
You
got
didn't
to
play
that
that
part.
long.
Yeah.
If you hit the button just right to dodge as they're like swinging whatever attacking you, you'll like slow motion backflip and then they're like kind of frozen. You can hit them for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's something like that in uh, what's the game called? I can't remember now. The Ubisoft game, the mythology one, um, Phoenix Rising. There's something before that, but
Oh
there's
yeah,
something
that
like
was
kind
the
of like
game
that
that
to do
was
that.
really Breath of the Wild inspired, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which that one I really like. Yeah, same thing. Like yeah, as soon as you like dodge it just right, yeah, you'll get that slow mo kind of like counterattack that you can do.
Right. But like I guess at the time he was like 5 or 6 year old. He like I don't know whatever part of the brain like little kids get that they can just like absorb that information. He was like hitting flurry rushes left and right. So he's like 5 years old. He doesn't traverse the map. He didn't traverse the map well or solve the puzzles much. He just kind of wandered around till he could find a Lionel, and he wanted to kill the Lionels. And he would just do the flurry rushes, and he would do it. So it was he nailed the timing. So I'm kind of curious to. I know I said before I don't like watching them play, but I'm kind of curious to see if they hit that Emmy timing and if it's actually a little bit easier than it turned out, than the game implies. Um, but I did find myself wanting to explore, and I don't know if that's just me, my style as a gamer, or how I feel about Metroid coming like from Metroid Prime primarily. So it's good. Um, you know, like it's a first party like solid premier Nintendo franchise, right? Maybe not tier one, but premier franchise. So the game is solid. Um, but I think it's going to be another probably till the next GX show before I can really give a more comprehensive set of impressions about like how the progression works and whatnot because I just haven't gotten that far. They did give you a hint that as you develop abilities, you can start fighting back against the enemies. So they give you like a Omega Cannon or whatever they called it, and you do fight off the first enemy and destroy it, and then whatever happens that like depletes your Omega Cannon, you don't have it anymore, and you go back to kind of just learning about the game and easing in. So they give you a little taste of powerful Samus, and then they take it away again.
Then you're playing on Samus.
Yep. So I
Yeah,
figured
Gasicles mentioned something. There was a game that he had just played recently that something like that, right? I thought last. Well, I don't know if you're on the last GX show. I can't remember now, but there was a game like that where they kind of give you a taste of being powerful, and then they just yank it away from you somehow.
I kind of like that. Like I mean
Yeah,
even in like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I remember they did that at the very beginning of the game. You play Leonidas and you have all the special moves, and then you go back and you're whoever.
yeah,
Um, you don't have any. I mean, it's fun. It maybe it gives you an incentive. It's a little carrot.
yeah.
But yeah, Metroid Dread solid so far. I'd like to play more, and I kind of figured you might have picked it up. So being a big
No, I've
Nintendo
never
guy.
never really been a Metroid person,
Hmm.
Metroid fan. I tried it like way back in the day, like on NES and SNES. I couldn't get into it. I don't. And then as I got older and I realized what the game was, like that kind of put me off of it even a little bit more.
Hmm.
Maybe the Prime series I might be able to get into because it's kind of 3D. It's more of like a FPS looking, your first person view. But the old style ones I couldn't get into. I don't really like that back and forth gameplay, like where you have to do something and then you
Hmm.
got to go traverse back through the whole level. Like I played, which I'm surprised I finished this, but Strider, like the remake a few years ago. Actually, I think I talked about it here on the show, and it just that game just killed me. Just the back and forth I had to do in that game. It's just like, oh man, like I don't like that. And you do that in some 3D games too that I played in Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. You kind of do that quite a bit actually when you're doing the puzzles, and it's just like, why did I have to do just this one thing just to go all the way back through this doorway? Like, come on, man, just do something like from the same area. Like, I don't, I don't have,
Oh,
not that I didn't have time for it. It's just I didn't, it didn't seem like it was like a good design decision. Maybe that's just me. That's just I'm not into that gameplay, but
no,
yeah,
I get it. I get it. It definitely feels. I don't know. It was maybe it's just because there's not been a lot of you know. I mean, what was the last like big Nintendo game that came out? Like tier like top franchise.
top franchise.
I'm trying to think.
Um,
Like they haven't. I mean, I know like Game Logic has even been. Anytime we have kind of a business discussion, and he's been he brings up like the Nintendo's kind of burnt through some of their franchises discussions. So
yeah,
uh, maybe it was just me wanting to pick up a big Nintendo game again. But I came, my initial is reaction is like it's good for what it is, but I hoping that Metroid Prime 4 is still a thing, and they get it turned around and they do well with it because um, you know it's reminding me why I was never a big 3DS guy. So
yeah. Yeah, I can like if they ever do a remake of those. What was there's three of them, right? Of the Prime,
I don't
the
think I ever
trilogy.
played the third one on the Wii, but Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 2 Echoes are back there somewhere. uh, I really enjoyed those.
Yeah, if they ever do like a remake of those, or even just a re-release, which is probably what they're going to do, I'd probably pick those up just to check them out because I always heard good things about those. I mean, I heard good things about the whole Metroid series, but like I said, I tried it back in the day. I couldn't get into it though. So graphically, it's I know it's like a 2D plane, like you're kind of going back and forth, but it's a 3D. They're 3D models, right? And the background
Yeah,
and everything's
yeah.
3D.
It's not sprite based.
Okay. Gameplay feels good, like she moves good, and
Yeah,
it's
I
not
mean
like janky or anything.
it, it's like it's quick, and the only thing that is a problem, I've I probably am gonna have to get used to it, but like you use the ZL or something to aim before you fire, and I found myself having to stop and kind of hold it so that I can then use the left stick to orient it up or
For
down.
aim, yeah,
Yeah, which it's not it wasn't as fluid and intuitive for me, but maybe it's just I'm not used to that as much. And then the other problem is I think this uh, R button is starting to go on this Joy-Con because you need to hold it to shoot missiles, and it wasn't working. And then it worked when I had my Pro controller. So I really can't play it in handheld in bed because then I can't hold the screen up and have my Pro controller, which has been annoying. But
so
anyway,
have you played it both, Doctor Not Doctor?
yeah, I ended up
Okay,
just kind of propping up my screen, but
yeah,
it definitely it feels more natural undocked. Just it's just the type of game it feels like.
yeah.
Um, but if you don't have any other questions, I'll let you talk about the new game that you picked up.
All right, yes. So I picked up Back for Blood on the Xbox Series X, continuing my Game Pass, the year of Game Pass, as I like to call it, since it was free on Game Pass. So this is the kind of spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, made by the same team, same guys who made man, I'm blanking on games today. They made the last one they made was the like the 1 versus 3 or 4, like one big monster and against four other people.
Oh right,
I just
yeah.
forget. I can't remember what it was called. I'll have to look it up in a second.
I'll
But
Google it.
yeah. So but this is like back to basics. Like this is just you can do either solo, which I believe they just give you. I haven't tried that yet, but they just give you like three other AI controlled characters, or you can do four co-op, four people against like just hordes of zombies that come at you. And as far as I've seen so far, I mean it's pretty basic. You're just kind of going from point to point. Sometimes you have to like hold down an area before like I don't know if it's like military, but just some kind of strike or help comes to lift you away for that that act or that level. There's other times where there's one I actually played 2 nights, and it was kind of like a both nights were kind of like marathon nights because I probably played for like at least 3 hours or so. I was playing with some people on another Discord server that I'm on, and we were just just running through. I think I did the first act on the first day mostly, pretty much, and then we did the second act. Actually, they skipped me to the end of the first act because once you beat that first act, you unlock all the other characters. So, which I think there's 8 altogether, and you only have the first 4. And each character. Oh, I'll get into that in a second. So the second night we skipped to just the end, so I could do that part, and then we played about 3/4 of the way of the second act. So and you can kind of just skip to that the next time you play with the same group or just whoever was the leader of that play session. So that was kind of nice. But yeah, it's I mean basic gameplay wise, it's pretty much Left 4 Dead. You're pretty much just shooting and kind of running and gunning. You got a stamina meter, so you obviously can't run all the time, which I can't remember. And I think in Left 4 Dead, I don't remember if there was a stamina meter. It's been a long time since I played Left 4 Dead. But you can only melee or run, for so long. Otherwise, you get tired, and then you still can kind of like hit, but it'll be like super slow and not as powerful.
Hmm.
So you get that. But on the other side too, now they introduce these cards that you can pick. You get I think a choice of 3 or 4 at the beginning of the match, and then you can add another one after each kind of level of like the act that you're doing. And the acts are like split into like the first two I believe are like 6 or 7 like sections. So you kind of go through each section, and in between those, you can pick at least one more. card, and they give you like different things like extra health or extra ammo, or there's like I think 160 altogether.
Oh wow.
So there's different like buffs and stuff, yeah, that you can kind of mix and match, and you can build your own decks, or can just use. They have predefined ones like medic, or you just want to be a shooter, kind of like those kind of like a tank and stuff like that. So, but I like pretty much right away. I just jumped into the creating a deck, and you can do 15 cards in your deck, but like I said, you can only choose from like a few, like each round, or in between each round. So you're not like super overpowered right away. So that's kind of nice, because that probably could kind of get boring after a while. Like if you're just like, you know, you just like run through everything like one shot, or just a few shots, or just like run around people, or the zombies and stuff. Um, so yeah, but like I said, I played those 2 nights. I've been enjoying it so far. There's another mode, the Swarm mode, which I guess still the 4 people against zombies, but then the normal zombies that you fight against are just AI controlled, and like the special zombies are other people. So you verse other people that way too. I haven't played that. I haven't tried that yet. So I definitely will probably try that at some point. Solo mode. Usually I would try that right away, just to kind of get used to stuff, get the used to controls. But from what I've read, and to even try to like build up my stats and stuff. But I guess in solo mode right now you can't. It doesn't unlock anything when you play solo mode. So I mean, I guess if you want to like just learn kind of the controls and stuff, you can do that. But it's kind of handicapped in that regards, which I guess kind of makes sense, because you don't want to just like grind solo mode and get all these super powerful cards or whatever, and just go into multiplayer and just rack up you know just kind of run through stuff, which I guess I can kind of see. So it's not too big deal for me, because I kind of like playing with people anyways in this type of game. Like
Mhm.
just like horde mode or firefight from like Gears of War and like Halo, where you're just fighting waves and stuff. So, but yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. When the beta came out, it was about a month and a half ago. I only got to play like once, so, and I didn't understand the cards system at that point, so I wasn't even really paying attention. I would just like pick anything because I wasn't paying attention to what they were. But kind of look at it now, and I kind of look some stuff up about it, not a lot, but just to see like how to mix and match cards and stuff like that. And you can, I'm not really sure how many decks you can build, but I think I did 3 so far. So I kind of did like a medic one, and I did like just a shooting one, and another one that was just I basically buffed up all my stamina and kind of health. So I was like super like defense guy or something. So it's going to be interesting when I get some of those more, uh, I guess, powerful kind of cards. There's like drawbacks. So some cards will like, hey, you can have like 50%, shooting penetration, which basically makes your bullets like a little bit, powerful. But then you like it buff it, it takes away like your stamina, like you can't run or something like that. So which
Mhm.
is that's a big deal, especially in something like this where there's like just hordes of zombies coming at you. So but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun so far with this, and I'm definitely gonna kind of keep on playing with the group I'm doing. And there's actually another friend of mine, which actually he had some hardware issues. His monitor kind of crapped out on him, so I don't know if he's got one yet. But once he gets that up, I want to play with him too, because we've played those type of games in the past. So it'd be kind of interesting to play with him, because we've been playing games for years. So we got that camaraderie that we can watch our backs and stuff with. So it's going to be interesting to play with him.
That's good. It definitely sounds like it's not contingent upon playing with specific friends or people from the specific Discord server. It sounds like for you it stands on its own. Even though you
Yeah,
the better experience is playing with people obviously, but um
yeah. And I've played some games with these guys before, so I kind of know them at least. But like I tried playing with randoms, and that was just a horrible
right.
experience. So it's like people didn't know what they're doing and stuff. I was like, okay, I get it, but it's like we had like one guy who was just like kind of like come in and out. Like I don't know if he like kept walking away or something, but um, he would just be sitting there for like the longest time, and then finally he would come back and try helping us and stuff. So I don't know what else was going on there. But other times it was just like people kind of just running around doing the lone wolf stuff, um, like most people like to do. But so that first night, so there's like rookie, or there's like easy, medium, and hard. I forgot what they call it in the game, but and we actually did it on. We started on easy, and then we tried to do medium, and it was just like I don't know, like it just like spiked the difficulty. It was like from just easy to medium, and we just got like slaughtered pretty much right away. So, and to be fair, like that, like I said, that was technically really the first time that I actually played at that point. So I was kind of learning
Still,
learning the game too. So it probably didn't help. but
Still,
but it just seemed like there was it was like a super big spike of difficulty all of a sudden. So I don't know. It was
that's
just kind of
it's
weird.
disheartening. Developers, it's disheartening when somebody plays like a game and it's like the regular medium difficulty and it feels like when you get crushed in that, then it affects your self-esteem.
Yeah,
It's not
and
good
I
to
was
be able to
asking
say
too,
I
like,
can only beat easy mode. Just
yeah,
you could rename them however you want, but you know,
yeah, because I was asking afterwards. He was like, "Did you put that on hard?" I was like, "No, that was medium." Like, holy crap! Like, it was just like it was unbelievable. Like, I don't know, because there's at one point, midway or not midway, but through the first just little section, that first midway through that first section, I shall say, not the first act, where there's like this huge like gargantuan like titan sized monster that comes out, and you're fighting him, and we took him down pretty easy in the easy mode, but the medium, it was just like, I think the other problem too, besides him just kind of being a little bit more powerful or more powerful, is all these other zombies were coming out too, which they kind of added that layer onto it, which is like, I don't know if, I mean, maybe a few here and there, but it just kind of seemed like they kept coming. So I was like, no matter how many you killed, like those the regular zombies were still just like coming at you. So, and if there's like even just like 4 or 5 around you, like hitting you, I mean, you go down pretty quick. So,
now
um,
the cards, do they have microtransactions or anything? Do they have like that level layer anywhere?
no, nothing right now that I've seen. So it's all in-game currency that you get after each round, and then you can pay. Yeah, there's what they call supply lines. There's like 3 different choices you choose from, and then in each choice there's like, I don't know, maybe like 8 to 10, uh, not just cards, but like cosmetics, and you can like do the banner of your background and like a little spray or whatever. So they get that stuff too that you buy, but you can't. You have to like just unlock each one like in a row. You can't just say, hey, I want to pick this one or pick that one. You just gotta go down the line. So that's okay, but as long as it's using like in-game currency, that's fine. So, and I haven't seen or read anything that they're gonna do anything like that. I don't know if they're gonna do. I thought I saw something about some kind of battle pass, but I couldn't find anything like when I went in there. I don't know if they haven't maybe activated that yet. So I don't know. Also, we'll have to see how that works out. It kind of lends to a battle pass, maybe. I mean, you can do super like goofy cosmetics, I would think, in a game like this, at least at the very least. And there's like weapon skins too. So I mean, I think that's pretty much a given in any kind of shooter nowadays. So just kind of skins for the weapons and for your characters. But like I said, I didn't see anything within the game so far that you have to that you could pay for anything to unlock stuff. So we'll see. Probably depends how just the game does too, in the first place, how it sells.
Right. Well, I actually want to circle back to a comment you made about playing the beta and then transitioning now to the full game. And because that was kind of our picks plays. And so our picks plays is when we give ourselves a homework assignment. Um, usually there's a theme or we'll jump off something that came recently in the news and we have to choose a game, a title to play. We have a little bit of latitude, but choose a title that fits that theme, that assignment, and play it before the next GX show. So our current assignment was to, it was over the years, the group has gone hot and cold over betas. Sometimes we're all in, sometimes anywhere from apathetic to downright curmudgeonly, because we are the GX show. Or this is grown up Sue game, so we would be curmudgeonly about it. Before the next GX show, Battlefield 2042 open beta will have dropped. So whether you go all in on that or select some other beta or early access, developer preview, etc., 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 have at it and have fun. Report back your findings and look out for your teammates. So uh, both you and I do want to actually real quick before we jump into the uh, what we played for the picks plays, but what was your experience going from the specifically your experience from the Left for the beta to the current game? You implied that the beta didn't hook you as much, but you still came back to the main game.
Yeah, one of the other problems too with the beta for Back 4 Blood was just connecting with somebody, because it is cross platform, which is nice. So I could play with PC, PS4. or PS5. I think I can. I think it's cross gen too, actually. So I can go back to PS4 and Xbox, just one or One X, One S. Excuse me, if I read it correctly when I was kind of doing some research. But yeah, it took forever for me and my friend to actually get into a game because it just kept like we couldn't find each other. Like we might see each other online, but we weren't actually online like in the status. So it was like I had to like reboot or not reboot. I had to like go out of the game and back into the game. I think like about 2 or 3 times just for us to connect, and then I had to do it again just for us to get online with each other, to friend each other, and then I had to do it again a couple times to actually get into a game, get into a party. So, but this time it was like boom, like when I played with those other guys, they invited me, found me right away. So yeah, there's no problems there. And then gameplay wise, I mean, the beta was fine. Um, Graphically, I didn't see any like problems with it, or you sometimes you see like a body, like a zombie body, like kind of just like not floating, but it's like out of angle
Hmm.
as it's died. It's kind of just out of angle like that. It's kind of weird, but that happens here in the full version too. I think that's just probably gonna happen, just the way like the bodies fall or whatever. But other than that, I've never seen any like big graphical hitches, like no tearing or like we'll talk about about one game here in a second,
Alright.
the graphical issues. But I
Yeah.
haven't seen any graphical issues like that in Back for Blood so far. So
Okay. Um, but so did your experience with the beta hinder? So did it make you eager to play the full version, or was it just you were just like, well, it was good enough, and let's see how it progressed, and it's my Game Pass, so it's free, and give it a whirl.
yeah, I mean, even besides Game Pass, I probably would have bought it anyways, just because
Okay.
I did like Left 4 Dead. Um, but and I knew with the networking kind of party issues that would probably be
Be
taken care of. So
resolved.
yeah, I wasn't too worried about that.
So we both played the. Well, go ahead and why don't you jump off that? You talked about the clipping and whatnot. Which
Yeah, so
game do you want to
yeah,
slander?
so I was talking about Battlefield 2042. So unfortunately, we didn't get to play you myself and Game Logic. But I did get to play a couple games just by myself, in a random lobby. And the gameplay itself was fine, like running and shooting and driving the cars and the tanks and the planes and all that. That seemed fine. It was smooth. I think I might have mentioned this. It just seemed like it reminded me a lot of Battlefield 4 in that respect. But graphically, there were a whole lot of issues that I saw. Like I said, there's a bunch of tearing and stuttering, kind of stuttering here and there. And it wasn't just lag, um, and just kind of like weird, like there just kind of be like a hole in the map, like if you're like by a rock or by like a certain kind of like hill or something like that, they kind of like kind of see through it basically. And it was just like in that one little section, and just kind of weird stuff and other stuff I'd see. Like someone would get in a tank and they drive away, and also the tank would disappear. You could just see the guy like kind of sitting there, like he's driving, and then it would like clip, it would kind of clip out and then click, kind of come back, pop back in. So it was just like weird stuff like that. Like, and it wasn't just like, and I only played like 2 matches, and it wasn't just like it happened a couple times. It was like throughout the whole play sessions on both times that I played. And I forgot what was the I forgot the name of the mode that we were playing, or that it was only the one mode
Yeah,
in that beta.
I
It's
don't
kind of like a
remember
back and
either.
forth, like kind of tug
Right.
of war kind of a thing. I can't remember
You
what that's
you
called.
had
But
like the little zones that you took over.
yeah, so and yeah, it was just happening like throughout both games. And it was just like, and that mode's like, it's not like 5 or 10 minutes. It takes quite a while, like 15, 20 minutes. I think if you start from the very beginning to the end,
It
it can take quite a while.
it's interesting that you say that though, because I also, you know, we on the Discord we started kind of coordinating and was like, okay, let's when it was coming out too, it would satisfy the Pix Plays assignment. So I did try to jump in. I played it on PC, so I had to get it. I got the demo through Steam, but then you launch it and it's like, oh, we actually have to launch with Origin, so make sure you download that. Um, I'll start with the game and then I'll go back to our experience with the forming matchmaking. So I didn't. really see those graphical hiccups at least on my on the PC version on my rig. Uh, I initially
Yeah, I'll,
I played a few matches with Vela, my wife, and neither of she didn't complain about it either. Uh, After she ended up uh, leaving, and then I ended up playing a few matches with Game Logic. For me, the graphics actually were fairly they were stable. I wouldn't say that they were anything like you know jaw dropping to write home about, but it was fine. The for me, I'm not gonna say though that there wasn't some weirdness, and for me the weirdness came from like just the way the games ended. The biggest thing that sticks out in my mind was you'd go through, like you said, the 15 to 20 minutes, and the whole time, like you can see on the map which zones are falling. When you die, you pick what zone you want to respawn in, and so you can see the state of the battle. And you know, I am not a very good Battlefield player. Um, so even though there was a lot of players, I was probably an anchor to my team, and I was frequently losing on the losing end. And yet, I did not lose one match. It's like we're down to one zone, it gets taken over, and then it's like victory. And I'm like, I don't understand how it was scoring that. Something was off. So that was the weirdest thing for me. The other thing with the matchmaking. So uh, as far as the gameplay goes, it was okay. Like I the respawning, I didn't feel like I was having to traverse for 5 minutes before I get to the battle and get killed and then have to respawn. Like the map felt more, I guess, tighter or just the spawn points were better laid out or whatever. That was balanced okay, nicely. Um, I did feel
wait,
like.
was it
Go
the
ahead.
same map that you played? I think it was only one. I thought.
Yeah, I don't think they
At
had
least I only
multiple
played one
maps.
when I played those two
Yeah,
games.
it had like the one like rocket giant
Yeah, in
thing.
the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and just kind of the jungle surrounding it.
right.
Yeah.
But I sometimes I felt like I would start shooting a guy and like they shoot me one time and I was dead. So like I don't know if it was like I need to get good or there was something about the progression that I just hadn't, messed with my loadout enough or advanced it well enough. Um, but it was a little bit frustrating and then it's like, oh yeah, this is why I typically don't play Battlefield games. um, because mostly it's an experience and frustration for me rather than an enjoyable experience. But and that's why Vela dropped off so quickly. She's like, you know what? The baby's crying. And don't. I don't want to mess with this anyway.
I
So
gotta go.
she bailed on me, and but by a little while later, Game Logic showed up. So we played like a couple of matches while we were waiting for you, and that's when we had so there was some cool stuff. Like there was a point at which we were in like a truck, and Game Logic was driving around, and I had like the big machine gun cannon thing, and uh, that was cool. He drove through like some foliage, and then it was just like a cliff. So that was kind of funny when we just like drove off whatever. But I don't think either of us had much success. We did try to stick together a little bit, and it didn't really matter that much. Again, the battle just kind of did its thing, and then we were declared victorious. So, um, but when you came on, that was when the fun really started because in order to play together, now it has cross play, and for PC, you can play with PS5 and Xbox Series XS people.
Right.
And I see randos in my party. They had the PlayStation logo and they had the Xbox logo. So you can play together. However, and we learned this the hard way, you cannot form a cross party. So only like place PC people can like team up together and enter the match. And at first we thought, okay, well, you have to have the origin. That's how they link everybody together. So you had a lot of fun getting your origin thing all. We
Yeah.
all have origin accounts that were like lapsed because we don't use this origin. You know what I mean? So it basically pulled us all back in, and then we had to get our friends set up again. We got all that finally arranged because oddly enough, Origin doesn't allow you to modify your friends list through a web browser, which is completely asinine. But anyway, once we did all that, we're like trying to get Tao in the party and it's not working. And then we Google it, and sure enough, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's cross-play, but not cross-party." So Tao on the Xbox was left out, and then by the time I think Game Logic was planning on playing with you the next night, but by then the open beta was over, so it didn't work out.
Yeah, that was Saturday night that we tried to get on, and then
Yeah,
yeah, it ended that Saturday, which was weird. I thought.
that
I
was
mean,
yeah, it
I
was
don't know why
very.
they.
I was like, these things never end on a Saturday. That's
Yeah, it's weird. I was like, what? Really? I was like, okay. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, that was the whole other thing too, is with the thing with Origin, just trying to get us together. Which, I mean, whatever. I mean, that's if that's the only way we can all get together, that's fine. And I think you mentioned that for the beta, there's no cross party, but I think for the official release, they were going to do
mhm.
that, right?
Yeah, and I think that was
Or
like
should?
yeah, it said it was planned for a release, and between Back for Blood and this, it kind of we were kind of talking about like are we curmudgeonly about or apathetic or whatever, and I think it really just depends on the style of beta because these are almost stress tests like and you're seeing the seams and it's okay and they don't really care um but in that way it's not very old school like I like old school betas old school demos and
Yeah,
you know was it good enough like to get me a taste of what Battlefield 2042 is going to be like? Yeah. Unfortunately, it also is enough that I'm not going to be tempted to buy the game when it comes out. But I think of WarioWare is actually a game with the old school kind of demo beta thing where they're just like, look, we have we'll give you some of the micro games. We'll give you a taste of what like the little story mode is going to be like. We'll let you play a little bit, and then you'll hit that wall, and you can choose to buy it. And I had never played a WarioWare game, and I was actually surprised at how much I liked it, and surprised at how much my family um, enjoyed it, and we bought the game. So uh, that's an example of where it works. Octopath Traveler is another one where I was like, okay, it's free. Let's start the game. Yep, this is fun. I'm gonna pick it up. Uh, but these like massive, and maybe I'm just not massive PC shooter guy either. But the betas always seem to be clunky exercises in frustration for the most part.
yeah, and actually, the way the Back for Blood does it, the cross plat is really nice. Like they just for whatever system you're playing on. Like I'm playing on Xbox, and I think all the other people were playing on PC when I was playing with them those 2 days. All it does is it asks you when you're in the game, like, hey, do you want to do cross-platform? Are you going to play online? You say yes. Okay, switches. You go into the profile, and all it does is add like a number. It has the hash, it has the pound sign, and then just a number after your whatever your console username is. So that's nice. Like, I didn't have to like log into. I think it's Turtle Rock as a developer.
Hmm.
I didn't have to log into their website and create a profile and log into that. Do all this other garbage that we have to do with like some of these other games like EA, and I even have to do that. I think I mentioned excuse me, with Ubisoft when I was trying to play Star Trek Bridge Crew on the Oculus. I actually had to log into their site excuse me, before I could actually play the game. I was like, why do I have to do? Why don't you
I,
just give me a random number? Like I've seen that even Activision does that. They just give you a random number on the end of your username. It's like just do that. Like I don't know why you have to make it so difficult to try to I
well,
mean I get it like you know between like the different PlayStation and Microsoft and Nintendo, they want to keep themselves separate. But if you're a third party, why would you make it so hard to connect yourselves to everybody else? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
mhm. Especially if you're a third party that's already like on all the systems.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's a struggle. But that wasn't the only beta that you played though this weekend or this past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I also, well, I try try to play Halo Infinite beta with Game Logic and actually DBQ, and unfortunately, uh, with that beta, it was only certain times of the day. I think it was like 11 o'clock Central Time, my time, 'cause I'm in Central Time, and then it stopped. So by the time I tried to get on with them, it had already stopped. So I was like, I kind of missed out. But I did get to play. I did play a couple of bot matches because they actually have bots that you can throw in there now. They're just kind of nice. I kind of like when games do that. Fill in lobbies and stuff with bots because at least it's not just like I mean, granted, it's a bot. Yeah, it's probably not going to be the best thing in the world, but if you're like on a team match, at least you got something there that at least can distract the other team, from you. You can, try to, like sneak around and get the team. And I played like I said, 2 matches, and I think it was on the same map both times. Kind of this like little like town area. It was like kind of like a little market or something in the middle of it, and just like buildings on the other side. So I mean, I got a little taste of what it could be, but I didn't get to play with actual people against actual people. So and it was fine. I mean, it seemed like Halo. I liked, and this was kind of a smaller map too, which is kind of weird because usually Halo has these kind of bigger you know big maps, sweeping maps where you can like drive vehicles and do all this other stuff. But this one was pretty small, kind of more of like a Call of Duty map. It actually felt a lot to me than a Halo map, but it was pretty good. I mean, like I said, it was Halo. They had some more, excuse me, some new weapons in there that I was able to try. You get to try the grappling hook, which is actually a new device that you can use, that everybody can use. So you can kind of repel yourself up to like a windowsill or like an entryway or something up on a second or third floor. So that's
Uh-oh. Might have a problem here. Um, so it's cool that it sounds like Halo is tentatively working out. It's a shame E2KG didn't get to have a full game night with that either. Um, so I guess we'll move on. Hopefully Tao can jump back in. Otherwise, this will be an abbreviated episode. Uh, but the big news for the SwissGuard household is that I finally was able to nab a PlayStation 5, and you know, basically it's impossible to get these things unless you do your legwork with Twitter or whatever to get the alert, so you can jump on and then you get lucky. But oh, you back? Oh, I still can't hear you though.
can you hear me now?
Oh,
Sorry, I had
yep,
to mute
there you are.
myself.
All right,
All right.
I transitioned.
Okay, good. I
um,
think it's time for a new machine. This
it's
one just
I
turned
mean,
off on me.
yeah, that's always a good thing when you get to start. Well, now is not the best time to be buying a computer, I guess.
Yeah, well,
Um, but and then that's why it was so hard to get the PlayStation 5. But just explaining to our listening audience, I'll bring you up to speed with the rest of us. Um, that I was able to nab the PlayStation 5. Uh, the Twitter alerts, it's like the only way and luck. So I was able to get it. Had to, I mean, I'm a good 45 minutes to an hour from a Best Buy, but I'm not going to worry about that. We made the trip out to pick it up and ran some other errands, and so we got one. Uh, a couple of quick thoughts. One is the interface. I I don't know. I hope I get used to it. I kind of like feel like they hid some stuff that was a little bit easier to get to on the PS4, but they're similar, but there's a few steps that I was like, I liked it better the old way, and we'll see if that's just me being curmudgeonly or if that's um, over time if I adapt or if it is really a stupid change. But I will say that hooking up my PS4 and my PS5 to the network, it was very easy to transition like my stuff. I don't have any PS5 games yet, So I transitioned my PS4 games, and honestly, that's like the biggest excitement for me right now is to. I never had a PS4 Pro, so being able to play my games in 4K, is going to be good. Uh, the the biggest, you know, the device itself is large. Like this is like a step backwards in form factor. It feels like. I think it looks really slick, but it's big. I knew they were big because I seen them in the stores, obviously. But just now that it's sitting in like my entertainment console, it's pretty massive. Um,
It's bigger than the four because the four was pretty fairly large, wasn't it?
no, yeah, it's
Or
bigger.
not really?
No, the four wasn't that big, but it's definitely bigger than the four. The four wasn't big. The original PlayStation 3 was pretty massive, and it um here's my original PS3, and I think it's oh come on camera. I think it's bigger than this. It feels longer. It's pretty massive. Um, so yeah, it's that's the thing. So what I did play on it, I have not had a chance to play any of my PS4 games on it yet. I basically got it. I ended up hooking it up, and then I let it sit overnight while it synced my PS4 games that were on my PS4 actively installed, and I had bought Metroid Dread, so it kind of pushed the PS5 down the list a little bit. But it comes with a game called Astro's Playroom built in, and that's designed to kind of highlight the various aspects of specifically the DualSense controller. Um, and I will say, and I remember Gasicles lauding the DualSense and talking about how he was actually surprised at how much he liked it. And I can say now, and I think at the time I said I was eager to experience it myself. I'm not one to go, play them a, in a Best Buy or anything like that. So this was my first time playing using the DualSense. It's definitely a little bit chunkier than the DualShock 4 and heavier. But that haptic feedback that it has is like it's a thing. Like he wasn't exaggerating. Like I was actually surprised and being like, hey, getting my family members. I'm like, you got to feel this. It's definitely different than we've come a long way, I should say, since the N64 Rumble Pack is how I'll phrase it. Um, but the playroom itself, it's like you know, just kind of like a platformer. You collect the coins, you find the puzzle pieces, and as you go through, it just highlights different aspects of the controller. So definitely feel the feedback when he runs around. You have some light taps on alternate sides of the controller. You're in like a little spaceship, and you have to push the R2 and L2 to get the thrusters, and it's definitely much more of like that rumble feel, and kind of you feel it in the triggers. Um, you can rotate it around, and that controls the ship. So they have, I don't want to say they're mini games, but like because that's my biggest complaint. But they they definitely have different parts of the levels that you experience different aspects of the controller. And I played through one set. My biggest complaint as far as like Astro's Playroom, the game, is that as you're going through it, it's just as long. It didn't feel like they divided it up or gave you any indication like, hey, we just saved it for you. If you want to stop now, that's cool. So I felt like it ended up just being drawn out. Um, I guess they wanted more of a continuous experience, but it didn't. Even though I was going across like four levels in this one stage or whatever you want to call it, it felt drawn out as like a platformer, given what it is, just because there was no clearly identified stopping points, um, and got a little tedious. But they did some cool stuff. Like they had your little bot people or whatever sitting around like as you're going through, and some are like recording, like they look like they're recording, and it's just they have a bunch of hat tips to various like the PlayStations in the past and different games. So like one was dressed up like Ratchet, from the Ratchet and Clank series. And then I saw another little bot guy, um, looked like Dante from like the Devil May Cry, and he was like doing the little shooter thing and keeping a little enemy clown thing floating in the air, which was kind of cute. Kind of nifty. I liked you collect like artifacts and they're like, it's a PS2 console or the PS2 multi-tap and like my kids are like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's how we could have four controllers plugged into a PS2 at once." Like the old PlayStation I or whatever they called it, you know. So it was pretty clever. Um, Nice little bit of PlayStation nostalgia. Um, and doing a good job of really highlighting the DualSense, which was nice. But are you think you're back with us, Tao?
Yeah, I'm just trying to fix my camera. It seems
All right.
it's a little weird on my side.
Well, the audio is good,
I should be
so
good. Okay, good.
so yeah, I will have like those are my initial impressions of the system. It's a big chunky beast. Uh, Pretty easy to transition your PlayStation 4 files over, and the DualSense is a thing. Like it feels like this. It's been a long time since I felt like going from one generation to the next was a leap. Um, you know, Obviously from NES to SNES, it's like whoa graphics, and from SNES to N64, it's like wow, oh my goodness, and even from the N64 to the GameCube. But ever since then, it's just felt like much more of a gradual evolution. But the DualSense does like wow, this is like yeah, it definitely felt like a little bit of a different gameplay experience. Um, just with the granularity they have on that the rumble feature. So uh, real quick, I think we can rip through some of the other little things we've been playing because everything else we have on the agenda is stuff that you have heard us talk about in the past. So, Tao, what else have you been playing besides betas for shooters?
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't really been playing too much the last couple weeks. Even like the VR stuff, I didn't get to play actually at all last weekend like I wanted to. But I haven't been playing a little bit of. Kind of went back to Animal Crossing, which I kind of go back and forth on that every not every now and again. So and I think because of the we're having a direct actually tomorrow, I believe. I can't remember what time for just Animal Crossing. So hopefully we get some new stuff and new content more than just like the regular. It's going to be Halloween, so they kind of have the Halloween festival thing going on right now. So that was another reason actually too I wanted to jump in there because there's some new items you can get from the shops. So I was just kind of doing that like every other day or so this past week. And then actually my son wanted to play Minecraft Dungeons again, which I haven't played for a long time actually. So that was kind of nice that he wanted to jump back into that. So I've been playing that again, both on the Switch. We both have it on our Switch, so we've been playing that pretty much the past like week and a half or so. So that's been kind of nice to get back into that game. We kind of wanted to get our wife in that one, or my wife on into that too, because she was playing, but fortunately she was busy with work and stuff. So by the time she got home, she didn't really didn't really like playing anything, or it's just too late that he was already in bed, and it was pretty much almost time to go to bed at that point. So we'll try to get her going maybe this coming weekend or this coming week. So and I like the game. It's like if you don't know what it is, kind of Diablo light kind of gameplay, kind of isometric, you know, in the Minecraft universe. So kind of like a really just kind of its own little story that I guess they made up for Minecraft. So it's actually I like it. It's pretty cool, even on
Yeah.
the Switch, and I do have it on Game Pass too, since it's a Mojang developed game, or one of their sub developers I think actually did it, or within the studio. So I think I've only played it a couple times on the Xbox, so I'll have to get back on that too. It runs fairly well. I think there's something going on with my Switch though, because I've been getting a lot of times where it kind of freezes on me, like going into games. Usually it's just like right at the beginning of a game where I'll kind of just like lock up for like 5 to 10 seconds, and then it's like fine afterwards. But it's been doing that a lot more, I've noticed lately,
Uh-uh.
than usual. So yeah, I'm gonna try to just do like a factory default reset and see if that helps. Maybe it's just something in there. And I do turn it off at least like once a week or so. So it's not like I leave it on all the time. So I don't know if it's just something is weird. And I think there's a way to clear cache, but I think it might just be to restart it or turn it off. It's the only way to do that too, I think, if I remember correctly. I think
Hmm.
I looked that up, but So I remember I used to have to do that on the 360 a lot too. So I had to kind of clear the cache, but I don't know. It's just kind of weird that it's been doing that a lot lately. So hopefully that's all it is. Just like if I wipe it and re-add stuff, which been kind of wanting to do anyways, just kind of just clear everything out and kind of start over on a clean slate. Because there's a lot of games on there I probably don't even play.
Yeah.
I just haven't gone through and deleted stuff. So
And
this will be a good way to do that.
what size card, memory card do you have in there?
I got a
Like,
512 in
okay.
there right now.
I
Yeah.
think I don't remember where I'm at. I know I had to upgrade ours, so I did have to do like and they make you do it through like Windows to do the data transfer, which is odd.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
copy the folder Windows
I
and
mean, I
copy back
guess
onto. Yeah,
I'm not sure the best way to do it, but that's the way. So I've
yeah.
been playing some other. I agree though with you about Minecraft Dungeons. I did like playing with my son as well. Um, and I thought like like the critic reception was like a little bit harsher than it needed to be. Uh, I think it's a solid, you know, it's solid. Um, I've been playing some more Octopath Traveler on the Switch up until Dread came out, and I did play a little bit more on Judgment on PS4. So both of those are going to be hovering in the background for me for a while. I think yet to come. Uh, I really got to make some more progress on Judgment so that I can pick up Lost Judgment for the PS5. But all right, so um, that's all the games we have on our agenda. So we'll go ahead and jump in, announce next week's Pix Plays assignment. Um, Epic Games is getting the Halloween spirit by giving away Stubbs the Zombie for free. Um, Tao, who is Stubbs the Zombie?
Who is Stubbs the Zombie? I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Okay. Neither do I.
I don't know. think it's, I thought it was an older game though. That's part of the remake, I think, because I think there's a remake of that one
All
that just
right.
came out, or like a remaster, I should say, not a remake.
I assume some people will know who Stubbs is, but there are other free scary games out there if you want to keep your jump scares short and not too high of graphical fidelity. And if you want to support your developer with cold, scary cash, just about every gaming outlet in all nine planes of you know what is having a sale on spooky titles. So whether it is something in your backlog or one of those cheapies or freebies, get ready for All Hallows Eve by playing something that evokes that not too comfortable feeling of fear. Have fun with the assignment, and as always, don't feel obligated to stay strictly inside the horror genre as long as you can rationalize your pick. And rationalization of our Pix Plays selections is an E2KG staple. However, I think I can fit well within this wheelhouse. Um, do you have any ideas for this one yet?
Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna play or go back to the medium, which I had started like a while
Oh,
ago, which was the first big, excuse me, the first big Xbox Series X game that came out for this, like specifically for the system. I don't think it came out for the older gen or the previous gen, I should say.
that's that
So
one
I'll
that's
probably jump back into that.
it's kind of like that sixth sense type thing where you can see like communicate with the dead and you're also like or something like that.
Yeah, the big thing was that it showed you like in the real world, and then like it split the screen, and then you're like in the the spirit world or the
Okay.
the other side. So yeah, at the same time. So
Yeah, that would be a good pick. I'm gonna go a little bit of a different direction though, and I think Vela has been kind of telling me that I need to play it for a long time, but I'm going to play Luigi's Mansion 3.
nice.
That I think both of them are well within the assignment parameters, but both will be very different gaming
Oh yeah.
experiences. All right, so uh, that will do it for episode 214 of the E2KG podcast. Please join us next week for episode 215, which will be a deep dive. Taomaster99, you will be hosting, and all four E2KG co hosts will be in attendance. So that should be good.
Nice.
All right. Well, that'll do it. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Um, keep playing the games you love with the people you love. Good night.